Learn how a house built in Connecticut was rebuilt piece by piece in Granville. We travel to Springfield to visit the Oddfellows home to enjoy its unique architecture and mission. A newly found collection of photographs and the historical facts they yield. And St. Leo's on the south side gets some TLC. Next on Columbus Neighborhoods.
Support for Columbus Neighborhoods is provided by...
At American Electric Power, we've been proud sponsors of WOSU Public Media for many years and strong supporters of our headquarters city here in Columbus, both downtown and in neighborhoods like yours.
State Auto Insurance Companies, transforming to become a digital provider of auto, home, and business insurance. And for nearly 100 years, committed to the people and neighborhoods of Central Ohio. State Auto. The Columbus Foundation. Smart philanthropy for a smart city. ColumbusFoundation.org. Bailey Cavalieri. Your relationship with your law firm doesn't need to be complicated, it just needs to be right. CODA. Keeps our community moving forward. Falgren Moortime Marketing and Communications. Think wider. Ohio Health focuses on you and your family with a mission to improve the health of our communities. Women in Philanthropy at Ohio State, changing lives by giving together. And by contributions from these and other Columbus area families who support WOSU. Thank you.
We all have that special place where we like to go to meet up with friends and enjoy each other's company. Well, here at the Idea Foundry, people from all over gather to exchange ideas and craft new works in all sorts of styles and materials. Our first story is about a house that was originally built on the East Coast and served as a gathering space for Dolly Madison and 2 presidents. We first heard about this story online, so if you have a historic home that you think would make a good story, log on to our Columbus Neighborhoods Facebook page and tell us about it. It might just make it into one of our upcoming shows. Right now, let's travel to Granville to see how a house in pieces got put back together again.
This house was built in 1796 by Christopher Manwaring, whose family first came to the United States from London in 1660. The house that preceded this one, that the Manwaring family lived in, was burned during the American Revolution by Benedict Arnold. He burned a lot of New London. So shortly after the war, he decided to put another house up in the same location. The house is a transitional home from a Georgian home to a federal house.
The federal period, a lot of the colors are more muted, but 20 years earlier, colors were very bright. And part of the reason was that the fireplaces were burning all the time, so you're going to get ash and soot over the paint anyway. So colors were very bright and vibrant. Christopher Manwaring was a local tanner, a successful merchant in town, but later in life he ran for state office and became a state legislator. He was in the same party as James Madison, Andrew Johnson, and Andrew Jackson, and they were all here in this house according to the stories we've heard. And he was a particularly good friend of James and Dolly Madison. They were here, and they had brandy in the library.
This house, in its original setting, was on top of a hill, the Manwaring Hill, and therefore it had great views of the Thames River and Long Island Sound. So Mr. Manwaring invited American naval officers up to the 3rd floor, trapdoor through the 3rd floor onto the roof, where they could observe the British blockade and then plan strategy for getting around it.
Between 1904 and 1967, the house was donated to New London as a hospital and the hospital decided to use it instead as a nurse's dormitory.
In mid-60s, the house was going to be torn down, and a local individual who worked at the Mystic Seaport made an offer, apparently, and bought the house and dismantled it.
He was going to re-erect it himself, so he did not make detailed plans. He just had rough drawings of what each floor looked like, the front elevation, some, indication about what size each elevation was. But he didn't do anything more formal than that because he was going to re-erect it right away. The bits and pieces of the house were stored in 2 states and 5 cities, various places where Robert Tatro had friends who would store it for him. Parts of the floors were even kept in chicken coops.
He had an injury, the building codes changed. The house was then moved by the University of Connecticut from these various locations to their property in Storrs, Connecticut, and put into a large Quonset hut. In 1994, they decided to sell the house. When we saw this house advertised in the newspaper, we were unaware of the fact that the house had been dismantled 28 years earlier in 1967 and stored. So we were hoping to go out and see the house, and instead we had to see piles of lumber in this unheated, unlit Quonset hut and have to take it on faith that the house had everything there that we saw in that newspaper article.
My favorite novel has always been Moby Dick. To me, whaling is one of the parts of American history that's most fascinating. So when we saw this house and we saw that there were whales' tails on the skirtboard, I guess it's called, I had to have it. And when we were in that Quonset hut, I kept saying, look at this, Don, whale's tails. And the paint will come right off.
Look how it's flaking off. This will be so easy to remove.
I kept telling him, it'll come right off, won't be a problem.
We knew that to commit ourselves to this project, we needed 3 things. We needed a contractor who was familiar with this type of a restoration. We needed a piece of property that would be suitable, that the house would fit in. And thirdly, we needed a house that was worthy of the effort we knew it was going to take. For a whole day, about a 15-hour day in February, we unloaded the contents of that Quonset hut onto 2 semi-trailers that we had arranged to be out there. One was an enclosed trailer and the other was an open-end trailer. And so with this contingent of guys and a piece of equipment, we loaded all of these 42-foot-long beams and posts and all of the bricks that were in the original 2 chimneys, all of the heavy brownstone that made up the front and side steps, all of the surrounds for 7 chimneys, 7 fireplaces, granite and brownstone, into these 2 trailers. At the end of the day, and then we dispatched them out to Granville, Ohio. I had plans to meet the first one 2 days later, and the next one was, I think, 4 days later. And so we inventoried, we made replacements, we repaired pieces, and then we had to strip paint. And some of the moldings in the downstairs here, the crown molding is 12 inches. And it's composed of 7 different moldings. And part of that is what we call matchstick molding, these little small matchsticks. And they were so covered with paint that you couldn't tell that those were individual. And so those had to be cleared of paint. And so I had a screwdriver in which I would eliminate all that paint. And the screwdriver was new. It had a square end on it. And now it's rounded.
I still have the screwdriver, and it's shorter and it's really round. The doorknobs and locks were missing because in those 5 places where all the parts of the house were stored, and the house weighed 36 tons, by the way. When Don talks about moving it, it's 36 tons he moved. Every day there were surprises because every day we would have to have executive decisions made. Because the house had no formal plans, when it was resurrected, we were going, we just didn't know how each room was going to look. Basically, the floorboards were a certain length, so we knew based on the floorboards how large the room was.
This house used wood that was from a virgin forest in this country. Wood that was as good, if not harder, the day we put the house back together than when the forests were first cut back in the 18th century. So we had wonderful material to work with. Secondly, we had a house, even though we had hand-drawn diagrams of the dimensions, that was designed obviously by some architect who had studied classical architecture going back to the time of ancient Rome and ancient Greece. So they knew the importance of correct proportions. So they knew that what was pleasing to the eye, how high should it be relative to the width, what should the window replacements be. So we had the benefit of this knowledge that goes back to ancient Roman and Greek times in terms of how the architecture designed the home that you really can't find today.
For me, it's because people like James Madison walked these floors, opened these doors. To me, that means everything. It's a piece of American history that we saved for future generations.
Next, the history of the Oddfellows home in Springfield. Then an ongoing project at the library to catalog a giant photo collection. And the preservation of St. Leo's on the south side.
The Oddfellows is a fraternity you might have heard of in your history classes. From 1730 to this day, their mission has been to promote philanthropy. They got their name because at the time it was odd to find people organized for the purpose of giving aid to those in need. Jeff Darby drives through Springfield this week and shows us one of the oldest gathering places for those who proudly wore the badge of odd.
Ohio has so many interesting villages and towns. We're getting out of Columbus today and going to Springfield, which is a really interesting community. It was a major industrial community, particularly for its size. A busy town like this historically would have had, of course, churches and commercial buildings and theaters, and also fraternal organizations. In the days before television and radio, they were for entertainment, really, and also for sort of mutual support. Fraternal organizations were a long part of American history. And we're going to visit here in Springfield, the Oddfellows home of Ohio. It's been part of Springfield history for well over a century. Hi, Bob. How are you? Good to see you. Judy, good to see you. Thanks so much for having me over today.
Okay.
Tell me about the Oddfellows home. What a wonderful place. I came in this entry. Looks to me like it was a porch at one time. It's been closed now, but it was a porch.
It was a porch.
It's a wonderful facility. I was looking at the exterior. It's just, the architecture is just remarkable. Can you show me around?
Sure.
Let's have a tour.
We can do it.
Great.
These halls were lined with old antiques that the people would bring with them from their homes.
So people would bring their own furniture when they moved in here, so it would sort of personalize the space. It was a little more like home.
Yes.
Who were the people who did live here? Where did they come from and who were they? They were Oddfellows members?
Oddfellows members, their families,
Okay.
both
Widows and children, orphans.
children.
Okay, so the Oddfellows were, at least in part, a sort of a mutual benefit society. They took care of each other
Yes.
Care of each
and their
other.
families. So the Oddfellows were Unitarian-based, the
Yes.
Unitarian faith, and were headed to the chapel, is that
This
right?
was the chapel as a home. When I joined, this is where the Oddfellows in Springfield were meeting.
So this was the chapel. It's been altered now to, it's kind of a,
It's called a community room now.
okay, kind
They
of like a day
have
room.
meetings, they have a group come in and do exercises,
And the Oddfellows have been around for a long, long time.
Next year is their 200th anniversary in the United States, and they're having their international sessions in Baltimore where it started.
Started in Baltimore. Okay, well, of course, at the time, that was a really important port city, a lot of economic activity there.
Started in a bar.
Well, that's where people get together. There's fellowship, there's friendship. For sure, it makes sense, absolutely.
Okay, let's go look at the tapestry that tells about our order.
Oh, yeah, that's beautiful. Is that an old tapestry?
No, I think it's fairly new, but they just put all of our symbols
It's
on
beautifully
one.
done. Now tell me about the 3 links in the chain and the FLT.
The FLNT is for friendship, love, and truth, by which we try to strive to be.
And then the I.
The eye is the all-seeing eye of God.
That makes sense. So the organization of the different groups, they were known as lodges, the Oddfellow Lodge in a given community? Because
Yes.
you see a lot of buildings in Ohio towns and elsewhere that say IOF,
IOF.
Independent Order of Oddfellows, is that right?
Independent Order of
Okay.
Oddfellows.
But so each town would have a lodge, and the members would keep an eye on each other. If somebody was sick or if a husband passed away, the wife would have the opportunity.
Take care of the widows, take care of the orphans.
Okay. Now, this is the home for Oddfellow members from Ohio, or is this a national home?
No, it's
for all
Ohio.
This is the Ohio home, so other states might have
Yes.
Oddfellows
There's
homes.
a lot of states that still have actually homes that are in use at the present time.
Okay. And how did it end up here in Springfield?
Springfield, for one time, was known as the city of homes.
So it was known for a strong sense of fellowship,
The
community. That was the
Pythias
idea.
and the Masons, all those homes was here.
I remember there's a big Masonic lodge
Yeah.
downtown. Right. So Springfield was kind of a natural choice, sort of in the center of the state.
Yeah.
Easy to get to because in those days there was a lot of train service with all the railroads. And then this site was probably, rural land at the time? And then I think I saw something that said Yost and Packard, the architects from Columbus, did the
Yes.
design. And I was thinking as we drove up, it sort of looked like other buildings of theirs that I've seen, the heavy red tile roof, the great towers with the curving eaves and all of that.
Yes.
That wonderful late 19th century design. Well, you've shown me a lot, you've told me a lot, but you also told me you know the building pretty well. There must be something I haven't seen yet.
The attic.
The attic.
The attic is,
Oh, I like attics. Attics are good. That's where you really learn about buildings. Show me the attic.
Okay. Are you ready to go up a ladder?
I guess I am. Yeah, I want to see this.
Are you going to go up the ladder?
No way.
No way.
I guess
no
just
way.
2 of us then.
I guess it'd be-
Okay. You want to go first?
I can go.
Go get him, Tiger. Oh yeah, this is where you learn about buildings. This is where all the history is, up in the attic.
But as far as Odd Fellowship dates back to the 1600s in England. Several men got together. They knew of a couple of families that was having trouble and they wasn't getting enough food, and so they started meeting in a pub and deciding which family they was going to help. And the guys in the pub, because they didn't drink, they labeled them odd.
Okay, so the people leaving the food, that group, they didn't drink alcohol. They
No.
have something to drink. Okay, and therefore the other patrons in the bar would say they're pretty odd.
They're pretty odd.
Makes sense.
My first trip up in the attic was in 1960 with an orphan that lived here.
He knew his way around.
He knew everything about this building. The kids would come up here, they would put their names on the walls, dates and so forth, just graffiti that they could think of to put on a wall.
Yeah, fairly innocent stuff compared to some you see today. Well, thank you again. It's been a wonderful tour, and
Yeah.
I've really appreciated learning about the Oddfellows.
Thank you.
Next, how historical facts are gleaned from old photos. And one man's mission to help St. Leo shine.
$100,000 photographs are at the center of a project at the Columbus Metropolitan Library. We've been following a story about a found collection of real estate photos and the treasure trove of information they hold. Here's a quick update on the MLS photo collection.
Recently, we got these MLS cards, and they were just full of information about historic houses from the 50s to the 70s, and we were interested in scanning them and making them available online. And we figured a good way to do that, to make them accessible, is to work with the Franklin County Genealogical and Historical Society. And we applied for a grant with the Columbus Foundation, and we received a grant, and so we're going to start getting them scanned and getting them online. We could estimate about 100,000 cards for the whole collection. We brought over a drawer just to do a test collection and to start training with the Franklin County Genealogical and Historical Society. And so we did a first batch, and I scanned them and then uploaded them to our collection, which is My History on our website. This is our test collection that we scanned. And what you'll see here is the address of the house at the top here. And you'll see the listing real estate agent, as well as the information about the house. On the backs of these cards, they have these really nice photographs of the houses, and then oftentimes the houses next to them, which is really important to get a sense of the neighborhood. We're gonna try to put all of the houses on one street into one record here, so the user can just go down the street and kind of see how their neighborhood and their street has changed through the years. Eventually, once we get these online, we will also edit the address fields, and so people can search their address and they can also see it on a map. We're hoping to have it done within about a year for the whole 100,000 cards. We're really excited to get it online, just because it's just a wealth of information and pictures about these houses.
For many Marion Village residents, St. Leo's Church was the heart of their community. They were devastated when they learned it would be closed. And what they did to keep it going is an example of the intense pride and loyalty many people feel for the South Side and its institutions.
People are moving. They don't live where they used to live. And so, unfortunately, there's been a little bit of a need to reorganize parishes. One of the contributing factors to the decision to close it as an active parish was just that it wasn't in good condition. The organ was kind of symbolic of that.
The church and school educated thousands of children. There were thousands of weddings here. My own parents were married here, as well as my mother's 52 cousins.
I was baptized in this church in 1944. My family, my grandparents, this was their church. The bishop's people asked me if I would stay on and protect the property until such time as they tore it down or did something else with it. Yeah, it's important to me because it's family, it's history, it's the roots. This is where I started at, and I have a love for it.
We actually hired a lawyer in Rome and tried to encourage the diocese to work with us so we could figure out a happy solution that helps the diocese, helps the local Catholic community, and helps everyone.
I spent 2.5 years redecorating and repainting and doing all the stencils and the artwork, and I did that on my own time and no outside labor. So when you save the labor and do it yourself, obviously there's labor there, but my time is my own, so I was able to donate that time.
One of the biggest challenges bringing St. Leo's back from the brink was the sad state of the church's organ, which was in complete disrepair.
I'm a sheet metal worker by trade. I have no knowledge of how to build an organ, but I was willing to learn, and I did exactly what I was told to do, and that's how it worked. So there's 3,600 pipes in this organ, and everything was taken down, clean, put back.
He single-handedly undertook everything that he possibly could, and he had the skill, and then rallied a number of the people to be able to come up with the resources for the professional work.
I have tons of volunteers here that want to be involved with this church. I have people that do the grass here for me every week. I have people do the yard work every week or month, or clean the flower beds out. It's sort of interesting when you deal with people like that. They can't come into church and do something, but yet they want to preserve it. They want it here for history.
If you miss any of our shows, just log on to columbusneighborhoods.org because we post all of our episodes online. Plus, see our stories on the WOSU mobile app. And you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll see you back here next week on Columbus Neighborhoods.
Support for Columbus neighborhoods is provided by
At American Electric Power, we've been proud sponsors of WOSU Public Media for many years and strong supporters of our headquarters city here in Columbus, both downtown and in neighborhoods like yours.
State Auto Insurance Companies, transforming to become a digital provider of auto, home, and business insurance. And for nearly 100 years, committed to the people and neighborhoods of Central Ohio. State Auto. The Columbus Foundation. Smart philanthropy for a smart city. ColumbusFoundation.org. Bailey Cavalieri. Your relationship with your law firm doesn't need to be complicated, it just needs to be right. CODA. Keeps our community moving forward. Falgren Moortime Marketing and Communications. Think wider. Ohio Health focuses on you and your family with a mission to improve the health of our communities. Women in Philanthropy at Ohio State, changing lives by giving together. And by contributions from these and other Columbus area families who support WOSU. Thank you.